To tonight's Newsmaker Now, where we go one-on-one with the people making headlines on the issues we are all talking about. And you know what we're all talking about right now. You probably are. Memorial Day weekend, the start of the summer travel season, the start of summer, but also what is it going to look like? I sat down with Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg as we're all getting ready for a huge surge at the airports ahead of the holiday. This year, summer travel is shaping up to be the busiest in nearly 2 decades. Look at this. Something like 10 million people are set to fly this weekend alone. That's up 11% from last year. And I know you remember what a hot mess it was Memorial Day weekend last year. Just a scene that nobody wants to repeat. So, can we avoid it? Will we see perhaps those scenes at airports again? Are they ready? The Secretary saying that this weekend is going to be a test of the system. I've talked about it with him, talked about some other stuff. Take a listen.
I think some people are having flashbacks to last Memorial Day and the nightmare headlines. Is there going to be a nightmare version 2 come Memorial Day?
Well, let me start with the improvements that we've seen this year. So far in 2023, every single month, cancellation rates have stayed under 2%. That's very encouraging, but we're not out of the woods. We have seen demand come roaring back for air travel, and the system has struggled to keep up. So a lot of improvement. Not out of the woods yet.
What is your level of confidence right now in the system writ large? Can the system handle it? Are you confident?
Well, first of all, the system that we have built is extraordinarily safe, and we're going to make sure that passengers stay safe, and that's the top priority.
But you know, passengers' concern is less their safety, and it's more the convenience. It's more the sort of headache of it all.
Yeah, I think once you are certain about safety, then we look at the convenience issue that was so frustrating last year, unacceptable really, which is why I summoned the leaders of the airlines. We ratcheted up the customer service protections and the enforcement, and we got a lot of meaningful gains. Those are going to pay off this summer. So far this year, that picture is much improved. We're pressing airlines to keep it that way, and we're acting to do what we can to help with what's under our control.
But there is I think a bit of a trust issue for Americans. You have the number of complaints. I know the new numbers just came out just in January, basically doubled from where they were the year before. People aren't happy. People are stressed when they're going out and flying. Why should they trust you when you say that you think these changes will pay off during this incredibly busy travel season we're about to hit?
Well, this is not a qualitative thing. This is very direct and objective. Did you get delayed or not? Did you get canceled or not? And if the airline owes you a refund, did you get it or not? We've gotten over $1 billion in refunds to passengers just since I got here through our enforcement tools. And I think one of the reasons that we're seeing a lot of these complaints come in is that passengers are seeing when they do complain to us about an airline not taking care of them, we follow up. And we make sure that they get taken care of. So we're going to continue building up these protections that did not exist even a year ago. But of course, the best way to deal with this is not for us to come in and have to enforce and issue fines and beat up airlines. It's for airlines to take care of these issues in the first place. And they've stepped up. There's a long way to go.
You've had a lot of praise for Billy Nolan, who is leaving his job as acting FAA administrator. There is still no nominee that's been put forward. How is it possible that there is still not somebody who is being picked by this administration to take on that role, especially given the turbulent times that we've talked about in the airline industry?
Well, the administration picked a new nominee almost a year ago, and partisanship and obstruction got in the way of that. Now, through all of that, our acting administrator has done a terrific job. Even though it's not a simple thing to prepare a nomination package to go to Congress, that's obviously something that we now need to do again because of the obstruction that got in the way of our last nominee.
So what's the timeline on that?
I don't have news to make on that in this interview, but obviously it's something there's a lot of urgency around in the administration.
Have you received assurances from Acting Administrator Nolan that he'll stay on until there is a nominee, if in fact there is a delay?
Well, we're going to make sure that there's continuity and strong leadership no matter what. But of course, what is most desirable here is to have the Senate confirm the president's nominee so that we have that certainty for the years ahead.
Let me ask you about some other issues that are sort of in your portfolio, in your purview. What regrets do you have about your response to what happened in East Palestine? What would you have done differently?
I do think that we missed an opportunity to communicate more clearly with all the misinformation that came to the people of East Palestine. And it's one of the reasons why I broke with the norm. Normally, a transportation secretary does not go to an active hazmat site or an active crash site. But in this case, I thought it was worth breaking that norm in order to be there to directly communicate with people on the ground about how this administration was supporting them and to communicate with the country about the safety reforms that are needed.
Do you regret not having gone sooner?
Well, again, I was upholding the norm, which is that you stay out of the way of first responders and NTSB. But I do think, had I known the amount of misinformation that would be directed at the people of East Palestine, we would have taken more steps to make sure that they got more accurate information sooner in the process.
You've talked about lessons learned from that process and that experience. Is that the biggest one?
Well, I think the biggest lessons have to do with making sure that we have even more teeth in our railroad enforcement. East Palestine woke Americans up to something that I think a lot of people in railroading knew, but I think most Americans didn't, which is that derailments have always been a daily occurrence in this country.
They still happen all the time.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's not something that we should just sit back and say, oh, well, there's nothing that can be done. Now, let's be clear. The number of accidental railroad deaths is in the single digits, but I want it to be zero.
I've covered you since you were running for president yourself back several years ago. And one of the things that you said at the time was that it was time for a new generation of leadership. Your boss has announced he is looking for re-election here. Does that represent a new generation of Democratic leadership?
President Biden assembled an administration that reflects the country that we serve. And I think about this as the youngest member at a very diverse cabinet table that reflects all generations and all backgrounds, and has been very clear about his intention, and I think has delivered on that, to empower new generations of leaders and new generations of Americans.
So to Americans who would say, including Democrats, that he is too old for this job, you would say?
I would say name a president in modern times who has been able to do as much as this administration has in just 2 years. And imagine what we can accomplish if we stick together and finish the job.
Do you believe the president is the only Democrat who can beat Donald Trump?
Again, I can't talk about campaigns and elections while I'm sitting in this chair because I'm here in an official capacity. But what I'll say is the record and the accomplishments of this administration are extraordinary. And by the way, this administration has delivered on a number of things that the last administration said it would do and failed to do.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.